Welcome to Mysteries of the Maw. Hope you're having a lovely day today. I am Alex Bard, and I will be your game master tonight. We're going to do a really quick introduction of all of our players, just your username and where people can find you. We'll get to introducing your characters in a bit. So, Mr. Luke, why don't you go first?
Oh gosh, hi, I'm Luke. Tumidlynx on the internet, or Misty Mountain Legends is the big one. Yeah. Hi.
Sydney, why don't you go next?
Hello, my name is Sydney Rubino. You can follow me all over the internet at Sydney Rubino.
Perfect. You pass it to somebody.
CB.
Hi. My name's Omega Jones, also known as the CriticalBard. He, they pronouns. Find me everywhere at CriticalBard. Jonathan, go.
I'm Jonathan. Hola, buenas tardes. You can find me Latinosagainstspookysh on everything except Twitter because it's too long and it won't fit and it's not marketable. You can find me as Against Spooky.
Perfect. And Jackie.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jackie. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitch under the username Jackie_Ilana_Chan. I'm happy to be here.
Yay! All right, everybody. So for everyone watching at home, as a reminder, this is a horror series. And so you can find all the trigger warnings for tonight's episode in the episode description down below. If it's not your vibe, thank you so much for being here anyway. If it is your vibe, strap in, folks. All right. So, CB. The wind around you howls in this icy wilderness that you find yourself in as you're following a set of footprints in the snow. You can feel the cold slowly seeping into your bones, and every breath is like a knife in your chest. The footprints lead you to the edge of this massive sinkhole, a gaping maw in the earth, one might say, that seems to go down into the very depths of the planet. As you approach, you can hear the sounds of something moving in the darkness below. Fear begins to grip your heart, and you turn to run, but it's too late. As something wraps around your leg and pulls you back towards the edge of the sinkhole, you struggle, kicking, screaming as you feel the icy grip tighten around your ankle. You reach and claw at the snow and the ice, desperately trying to drag yourself free, but it's no use. You're dragged backwards, closer and closer to the edge of the maw. As you look back, you catch a glimpse of the creature that's now pulling you in. It's a dark, shapeless thing with long, sinewy arms, razor-sharp claws, and its eyes, pits of endless darkness. And you can see the hunger in its eyes. You scream as you feel yourself dragged over the edge into the abyss, darkness closing in around you, and the last thing you see before you're consumed by darkness is the creature's face, twisted in a grotesque, hungry smile. Then you wake up, sopped in sweat, in your bunk at the keep. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, the sweat-laden, blind at this point because his glasses are somewhere thrown off to the side, probably dozed off while he was studying or going over some details of an upcoming adventure. You see a medium tan-skinned individual. There's no hair upon their head, though they do have these sandy brown eyebrows. Pretty firm in their physicality, not muscular, but still has some rigidness to them, especially in their cheekbone area, very high, very pointed, nice pronounced chin. These gray, almost gunmetal, but still light eyes pierce through, trying to glance around in the darkness right now. Continuing on, you see these long pointed ears, pretty darn long. You can tell that they're not completely human. Currently right now, probably still in their garb, though not wearing their black-gray jacket that is lined with a white fur of some kind of wintry animal. You see that they have on a white button-up the pinkish, taupish bow tie is probably definitely unclasped and kind of just dangling at this point. Dark simple slacks with a nice simple belt around their waist. Again, a little on the smaller, skinnier side of things, not extremely frail, but just not bulky in any way, shape, or form. A very studious look upon their face, though that look is currently mixed with fear, trying to settle back into understanding that it was just a dream. Perhaps whatever is to come is trying to psych them out, or whether it's his own mind playing tricks. But right now, he's just, we're here. See them almost like playing with their fingers, playing with their hands, trying to grasp onto reality for a moment.
Okay. So as you're grasping onto reality and you're sitting on your bunk, what do you do to start your day? Because you know today is departure day. Today is when the expedition leaves. You have a meeting in probably a few hours. What do you do?
The first thing I do is the first thing I do almost every day. Is kind of just sit. Again, realizing now that he slept in his clothes, he's kind of annoyed by that, so he knows he's gonna have to freshen up and get things, looking at least to the base perception that he's okay and not freaked out right now. So he's gonna have to, iron his clothes and do all that jazz. But the first thing he does always is just sit and breathe, because he has an innate ability or understanding to tap into something that even he doesn't understand and just allow it to guide his steps in the time to come. AKA, I am a spooky and I get to roll for my premonitions.
Okay.
Oh my God, I'm scared. Okay. It's going well.
This is so fantastic.
Okay. 11.
11. So with an 11, that gives you the vision and the forward, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So as the kind of fear, it seems to stick around. As you feel another, visions happen quite often to you, yeah?
Yeah.
And as you feel that very familiar feeling of the vision kind of wrapping around you, you feel the wind once again on your face inexplicably, even though you're inside a building, as you're on the deck of an airship. And you can't shake the feeling that something just isn't right. The world around you seems to be fading away as you're beginning to get enveloped in darkness. And you suddenly see a flicker of movement in the shadows. As a dark shape begins to take form. It's difficult to discern, almost painful to look at. The longer you stare, the more unsettled you become. The shape seems to be alive, and it's hunting you. Can't tell if it's an animal or if it's a person or something else entirely. As you start to back away, the shape begins to move towards you, slowly, deliberately. Its movements are unnaturally smooth, as if it's almost gliding. You can hear its breathing, a low growl and heavy breath that begins to send shivers down your spine. You can't make out any details the more you stare at it as you try to back away, but you can feel its presence, and it seems to be getting closer and closer to you. You can't shake the feeling that you are hunted on this ship. As suddenly as it appeared, it fades away, leaving you shaken and unnerved. You're not sure what this vision may mean, but it's a sign that something dark and dangerous will be lurking in the shadows, waiting for you. As you come back once again into reality, soaked in sweat once again.
I am not a fan of this. Okay. Right. Notes. Bath. Shower. Timing. Notes. Laundry. Okay. Yeah, he's gonna get out of bed. He's going to allow that to kind of sit within his system. And even as he was having his dream, he was going to just take it and flip it a little bit. As he was having his dream, his silver eyes, at least his iris is the color, and the whites suddenly became clouded and almost galaxial, almost like fractal for a moment before that kind of fades away. Nothing he really sees happening, but it just kind of just envelops him. But as that goes away, right, where are my glasses? Looks for his glasses, finds glasses, places them on. His glasses, which I didn't explain, don't look like mine because this metal part is gone. It's just this extra area. Or am I lying? Am I lying? I think I'm lying.
Are you lying?
No, I'm not. It's just the top. The top. If you look at me, the black part is all that's there. That's nothing else. But you could tell that they are still prescription in some way, shape, or form. How? The future.
Fantasy.
Fantasy. But yeah, glasses. He starts to get ready.
Okay.
So start going through those motions. He's definitely asking if he can find someone to get some coffee. Extra dark, extra rich, because he needs the punch right now. To wake him up full force. Yeah.
So you would know that here in the keep there is a like a mess hall where you could go and get breakfast and you can get food, essentially. So if you want to head there to get it, you can, or do you want to try to get someone to deliver it to you? You
can tell that he has a he's used to not necessarily being waited on, but you could tell that the way that he just wants to naturally ask someone to go do a thing probably hints that he has people who can do that usually. But now he goes, not back home. He will get ready, he will shower, and then he'll hang out in the mess hall with a bunch of notes and documentations as he's preparing. That's what he's gonna do.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you head to the mess hall, and it's this massive space, like right in the center of the keep, which the keep, by the way, I'll give you all a description of. The keep is an imposing stronghold in the heart of the rugged mountain range in the northern regions of this world. It's built of dark stone, fortified with very formidable walls. It serves as most of you know, as the headquarters of the Exalted Core. Despite its very formidable exterior, the interior is surprisingly opulent. With very spacious halls, ornate tapestries, polished marble floors, flickering torches illuminating basically everywhere. And the centerpiece where you are right now, the mess hall, is the grand hall, where basically it's kind of a shared meeting space and food space for members of the Exalted Core and also visitors. So you're going to spend the rest of your morning with notes in the mess hall. Okay.
Yeah. Then he'll eventually, get back and get ready and go to wherever the actual important meeting is. But for now, he's going to relax after those two mind-boggling moments. He's going to eat, get some coffee, sausage, and he's going to vibe.
Got it. Okay. Jonathan. So you're not used to the cold. As your airship begins to descend through the clouds down into the icy north. Introduce your character as we see you standing on the deck as your ship descends into the clouds.
Mal stands at one of the windows peering out, or at the deck, I should say. And he's got one of those big winter coats, good old pea coat, long, New York style, if you think of it like a mobster type. And he's just shivering against the cold. This thing's supposed to be designed for cold weather, and he still feels it chill him down to the core. He stands 6'3". He's tall. He's strong built. He's not, overly muscular by any means, but he's a grown man in his own right. Long swept back hair, hard parted. He's got glasses. They keep fogging up and getting little bits of ice on him that he keeps having to flick off. And he's just standing there, just looking and taking in the white tundra that stands below him.
And you see the massive building of the keep that is nestled in between these mountains as your airship comes into land. And you see the captain who comes around the corner, who's a very tall orc man. He's in, fine leather armor, and he's got an eye patch because why not? And he comes around the corner and he goes, "Make sure to have your papers because they're going to ask for it once you get in there. Hope you've enjoyed your journey, and We'll see you in 2 weeks, right? That's when you want pickup?
Right. Yeah. Enjoyed my journey as much as somebody can in these frigid weathers, but I'll have everything
You
ready
get
in 2
used
weeks'
to it
time.
after a while. You'll be fine. And it kind of gives you a slap on the back.
I kind of just straighten up as it hits cold skin, and I'm like, all right, well, I appreciate it. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
All right. And you see he heads back up, and the airship lands in basically the front kind of meeting area of the keep, where you see there's a couple other ships, and there's a lot of activity. There's people kind of moving about as the ramp opens up and the passengers begin to disembark. And you see, as they're walking up, you can see there are two blue and yellow robed figures standing at the bottom of the ramp that are checking people's papers that they're supposed to be here, because the keep is very basically like it's kind of a lock. You gotta have an in to be here. You can't necessarily just like walk in whenever you want. You got to have a pass or an approval to be here. As I'm going down the line with people, I keep looking at my papers to look at the information to keep committing it to memory in case they ask me anything. Okay. So you get down to the bottom and you see there's the human woman there with long, dark brown hair. She's in the normal robes of the Exalted Corps, except she's got kind of like a fur coat kind of draped over the top, as it's a very brisk and cold day today. She seems unbothered by the cold. And she just offers her hand. She goes, "Papers, please."
I reach into my coat pocket and I pull out the papers that I received, and I put them gently in her hand.
And you see she opens them and kind of looks at you. And she goes, "You're here for the expedition?"
That's right, yes. We should be departing shortly, so if I could get along now.
Of course, of course. We're going to do the first roll of the game. Can you give me a act under pressure, please? So that is 2d6 plus cool.
I literally rolled. What are you talking about?
Well, you rolled for your vision.
Wow. It's still a roll.
Yeah, it's still a roll, but it's not me telling you to roll. You rolled it.
That is a hot 7.
A hot 7. So she kind of like you pressing like I need to go. She's like, she looks a little bit closer, but then you see her compatriot kind of like usher, like needs like, come on, we need to get the line going. And she folds the papers, kind of squints at you, hands the papers back, and gestures you
back in my pocket. Thank you, ma'am. And I just make my way through.
Okay. So where are you going?
I'm going to try to get more information on this expedition. So I'm going to try to find a personnel or somebody that seems to be walking by with some paperwork that I can kind of tag along with really quickly.
Sure. And I'll tell you this, that there's going to be a meeting beforehand.
Okay. But
you see there is a Corps member in front of you. They've got a bald head, and they've got a stack of papers in the blue and yellow of the Corps as they're just walking down the hall. What do you do?
I kind of pick up my pace to tag alongside them, and I'm blowing into my hand. I'm trying to warm myself up, and I'm like, boy, this cold, you never get used to it, do you?
Oh, after a while, it just becomes normal, and it's warm inside the halls. As you enter, they say, as you enter the halls, and you see it's quite warm actually inside.
It's like a Costco.
Yeah.
Hot air that hits you right when you walk in. Don't judge me.
Okay. I was like, how is it as an ancient fortress I guess it's like a Costco. That makes a lot of sense.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes.
And they turn to you and they say, you get used to it after a while, and again, it's warm inside.
I don't think I could ever get used to this, but all power to you. If you don't mind my asking, what is it that you do here? I see you walking around with all these papers.
Oh, I'm one of the lore keepers here.
Gotcha. Lore keepers. That's interesting. I'm actually curious because I'm going to be part of this expedition coming up here soon, and I'm a little curious about the Maw and what you know about it.
Give me an investigate a mystery, please. So 2d6 plus sharp.
That is going to be a 10.
A 10. Okay, so you can hold 2. So you can be spent on asking a question. So your question was, can you tell me more about the Maw? So I'm going to kind of use this as like, she's going to be more forthcoming because you rolled well. And they kind of go, well, I mean, everyone's heard the stories. Ships going missing, people going missing, strange things in the snow. The research facility that was out there, the shift change never came back. And which is, I'm sure because you're on the expedition. That's why you're being sent to find out what happened and what's really behind everything.
Right. Yeah, I absolutely have information. Of course I do. Curious. Great. And how long? How often do the shift changes happen?
Typically every 2 weeks. They're supposed to happen.
Gotcha. And we've not found anything or heard anything or have any idea right now.
No, it's gone completely dark. And this expedition is the first time we were able to get all of the nations to kind of come together to send something, because it's beginning to affect everyone. It's not just us up here.
I'm curious. They do daily report logs, I imagine. Do we know what the last one said before blackout?
That I don't think I'm privy to that information.
Sure.
But I'm sure when you meet with the heads of state later today, they will be able to inform you of any necessary information you may have or you may need.
Well, cheers. I appreciate the intel. Pray tell, which way to the coffee station?
Oh, you're going to go to the Great Hall. So you're going to go down the hallway, turn to the left, and follow all of the loudness.
Much obliged. Thank you. Can I head off?
Okay, you head off. All right. Sydney. It is early morning. You know you have the meeting later today and you're departing this evening. Where would we find you in the morning?
I would say that Branwen wakes up relatively early, so she would have already gotten an early morning routine in a military drill. And after this, I feel like she would immediately check in with her mentor / father figure.
Okay. Why don't you tell us, describe your character for us?
So you see this kind of messy, tousled, shaggy wolf cut, dark blonde hair amidst a deep set of blue, bright eyes. She kind of has a little bit of a snarl to her at all times. Just naturally resting monster face. What can you do? And she walks around with the confidence of someone who has seen a lot. When she walks down the hall, people kind of like back up and like get closer to the sides. And as she walks, you see like she kind of like flicks her fingernails, which look a little bit more like claws. She's typically a very, very pleasant looking, a little domineering 5'8", normal looking woman, except for like, the ears, which are fey. But there's something a little off. You don't know what it is, but there's something just a little bit off about her.
Okay. And you head to Ivar's office, yes?
Right away.
Okay. Yeah, you head to his office. It's a little bit off the side as they kind of keep him a little bit away from the majority of the core members. And you enter his office, and Ivar is the towering figure, even for a dragonborn. His scales are gleaming icy white, giving a very imposing regal appearance. However, his sharp, angular features and very piercing yellow eyes make him look very wicked. He's got his face and his body is decorated with a lot of scars from his long tenure in the core, and his office is quite plain. It's a desk that is in the middle of the room with a very orderly stack of papers, a near empty bookshelf save from maybe 5 or 6 books, and a chair in front of his desk, and he's sitting there scribbling in his notes.
You notice that when she enters the room, her demeanor changes automatically. the domineering kind of like boss ass bitch that was walking down the hallway completely turns into like a playful, almost younger version of themselves. And they walk into the room and pull out of like one of their side pockets this tiny little round wrapped candy. And they kind of like try and get their attention, dance around the desk a little bit, wait for them to look up. And when they don't look up, they just kind of drop the candy right in front of them.
And you see he pulls the pen back and he goes, "Thank you," as he reaches and grabs it and sets it down. And he goes, "Are you ready for today?"
Yes.
He pops the candy in his mouth.
I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and I look forward to doing whatever it takes to get the information that we need. Though I am slightly concerned with our team.
Tell me why. What's your
they're
assessment?
I don't think they're capable.
In what way?
You have me there to watch one of the youngest, most inexperienced members of this order. You also have someone who's never been to the keep before. You have some random person from out of town who doesn't know anything. And then this mystery person who showed up out of nowhere. How did you put this team together?
Would everyone except Sydney take their headphones off? And he goes, "I put this team together because they may be green in some areas, but they have a certain set of skills that will be beneficial to you. And also, you know they're easier to manipulate that way. Just like I taught you."
Right. Well, you certainly know how to teach me how to manipulate you with sweets. So.
Just because I have a sweet tooth doesn't... And he just kind of like... Ivar doesn't smile for anybody. He doesn't smile for anyone at all. But he does for you.
Yes.
He leans in and he goes, "And you are prepared to do what you need to do to make sure that the information comes to me first and no one else."
I always deliver.
Atta girl. And make sure none of them suspect a thing. Like you're going to bring it back to the council.
Yes, sir.
Everybody come on back. Put your headphones back on.
The messages in the chat are beautiful.
And he just nods his head at you. And he goes, "Well, you better pack your things and be ready. The meeting is in just about an hour."
All right. She'll get up. She'll pull another candy out of her bag and she'll drop it on the table and she'll walk right out.
Okay. All right. And so you head to where all these I see all these messages in the chat of y'all trying to lip read. That's great. So you had to go get your things and get ready for the day. Is there anything else in particular you're doing besides from going to see Ivar?
I think first of all, first thing in the morning, the one thing she's going to do, because the keep is her home. She spent her entire life here, besides the missions that she's gone on with Ivar. She's gonna say goodbye to her room. Okay. Because I think part of her recognizes that, every mission, you never know what's going to happen, especially one as dangerous as this. So she kind of takes a final look around, takes a picture off of her wall of her as a little tiny monstrous child with teeth too big for her mouth and ears too big for her head, and Ivar putting a hand on her shoulder, and she kind of tucks it away into her bag and then leaves.
Okay. All right. Luke. Oh. So your airship is quite nice. And you don't feel the cold at all, as you are on a airship that is funded by the Banks of Hearth. As you are heading in, and so you're just kind of sitting in a very nice, almost like dining room, Like it's the cabin of the airship, but it's near a dining room. Very nice carpet, nice paintings on the wall, soft jazz music playing, and you're enjoying, a dinner and nice glass of wine. Tell us about your character.
So Kreg or Kreg. You just really see as he's laying back on the couch, he's just wearing a suit with it's a black jacket, a black button down with a white tie that's loosely fit. It's not buttoned up all the way. The jacket's undone as he sits down and just kind of sips at a small glass of wine, nothing crazy. One thing that really stands out is his pure white hair and pupilless eyes. There's no pupil or iris or anything to his pure white eyes. He looks weird. It's just slightly pointed ears. Something that doesn't really fit his demeanor is how exhausted and tired he looks. Massive bags under his eyes, pretty dense 5 o'clock shadow going on. He looks like he is just so done with the world and everything. But he takes another sip of his wine as his hair kind of is longer. It's about shoulder length. He kind of keeps it swept back, but oftentimes it kind of falls down to the sides of his face. But yeah, he just kind of stands up and kind of pops his neck and his shoulders, and you can see a tattoo. It's black that crawls up his very white skin. It almost looks like curling smoke that just kind of touches right along his lower jaw. And he just goes to the window to admire the view as the airship starts moving down.
And as you're admiring the view, you hear a kind of a throat clear behind you as you see your basically employer, Mr. Reginald Blackwood, who is the head of the bank in Hearth. He's a portly, middle-aged man with a balding head and a very neatly trimmed mustache. He's always impeccably dressed, and it's no different today. He's in a very crisp suit, very shiny shoes, and a polished cane with what looks like a fireplace for the I forgot what it's called, where your hand goes on a cane. The handle. Thank you. Despite his very affable demeanor, he's very shrewd in not only his business dealings, but also his gaze. And he comes up and he goes, "So, Kreg, are you ready for your journey?"
Real quick, how tall is this man?
Oh, he's like 5'5".
Cool. So Kreg is towering over him at 6'10". Cool. I don't turn around. I just, still looking out the window, I just say, I'm ready as ever, and as you've paid me to be ready, I'm just ready to be there. That's all.
Good. That's good to hear. What do you think you're going to find down there?
Well, I hope answers to where all your money went.
Exactly.
And I do turn and give a small smile at that.
Your eyes are on the prize. I appreciate that.
Oh, always. But I also hope maybe to find some other just satisfaction to my curiosities.
Right, very good. Make sure the satisfaction doesn't get in the way of the job.
Of course, sir.
You really believe there's monsters down there?
Oh, people talk. And I don't know necessarily. I have no opinions on the matter. If there's monsters, then there's monsters. If there's not, there's not. I'll find out one way or another.
You're a braver man than me, Kreg. You couldn't catch me dead going down there.
I turn back to look out the window And just kind of under my breath, so he can't quite hear it, I just say, "No, you certainly would not."
What was that, Kreg? You say something?
I said, well, I just have grown tired
Well,
of the journey.
it's just about done. The captain said we should be landing the next few minutes, so I will see you at the meeting. Make sure to familiarize yourself with the keep and the people, and I will see you at the meeting.
Of course.
I've got a massage before the meeting. As he like hobbles out of the room. And the airship comes and lands, and the ramp opens up, and you see there's an attendant waiting there for you with a winter coat and your things.
I wave off the coat.
Of course, sir. Of course. So they drape the the coat over their arm, and they lift up your suitcases.
Thank you. I want to feel the cold. It's refreshing.
If you say so, sir. It's a bit too cold for me.
Of course. Well, come along. Let's find where we will be meeting.
And you head down, and you see there's already a few attendants there waiting for you, members of the Corps, and they go, "Hello, sir. Welcome to the keep. You're here for the expedition and the meeting, and we're here to take you where you need to go."
Wonderful. Please.
And they kind of snap on a heel as you begin to follow them through the halls of the keep. Is there anything in particular you're doing while they are guiding you towards the meeting spot?
Just trying to take in everything, look around, get the sort of sense for what the culture is. Like, what do people value here? What is the sort of the draw that this place has on people?
Make me an investigative history roll.
Wonderful. I can do that. And that's plus sharp, yes?
Correct.
Yeah. That is 7 exactly.
7 exactly. So what I will say hits you as you're walking through this halls, and you are used to, the luxury of Hearth, which is the metropolitan center of the nation of 6. It's a very beautiful city. It's a very capitalistic city full of money all the time. What you notice here is the lack thereof. The lack of the money, or the seems like people here care much more for information and for lore and learning than money at all. As the core deals strictly in retaining history, artifacts, ancient knowledge, those types of things, they have no need for worldly possessions.
I turn to one of the attendants and I say, "Where's your library? I presume you all keep a lot of knowledge and
Which
texts." That makes sense.
We have many.
I suppose. Do you sort them by subject or by what is the organization method you use?
Yes, by subject, time, whether it is last of its kind, too dangerous to be just sitting around, many different ways. Is there something in particular you are looking for?
Ancient deities.
Ancient deities. Well, we have quite a bit on that, so you might have to be a bit more specific.
Perhaps, do you have anything on deities within the last 400 years, given the past events?
We have some documentation of the deities that are still around, the ones that are trapped in the woods or in the nation of 6. We have the ones who have vanished completely. So yes, we do have some information on that.
The ones that vanished completely. would it be too much of a bother to have what you have available on that brought to my room?
Oh, yes, of course. We can do something like that.
Wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And you continue your journey through the hall as they guide you to a bedroom to drop off your things. And it is just that. It is a room for a bed. As you walk in, as there is a very simple bunk in the corner, near basic, almost a cot with a pillow and a blanket on it, and then a very simple desk with a chair and a window that looks out into actually a very like special place in the core. It's a place where it simulates basically like a sunny day in a forest. So it's a very small area, like kind of a circle, but there's a very nice large tree in the middle and artificial sunlight as your window looks out into this artificial inside.
Gotcha.
And do you do anything else in your room?
Yes. I have my attendant wait outside.
Okay.
And I just want to pull out just a small notebook from my jacket and just make a note of what the attendant that mentioned, what the kind of books they have on deities. I just want to kind of write down all the information that he gave me about that.
Okay. All right. And they, soon after will bring you a stack of books, and you don't have a ton of time to kind of relax as the meeting is soon within about an hour or two. But you're going to sit and read when they bring you the books?
Yes, I'll send you a message about specifically what I'm looking for.
Okay. Understood. Perfect. Okay. And we pan to one of the laboratories in the keep. And Jackie, what are you up to the morning of the day you're supposed to leave? What do you get up to in the morning? And would you mind?
Elzen Zinnia stands at a confident and chaotic 4 foot and 9 inches tall, with wild, chaotic yellow eyes as she scurries around her lab room, grabbing various items of both of use and of random things before stuffing it in her rucksack. While in the lab, her layered A-line hair cut sits in a messy ponytail on top of her head. Her warped and jagged pointed ears sticking out more prominently than normal. Her teal blue skin stands out against her white lab coat, and you can see on her back 2 self-made holes from which protrudes 2 small gremlin-like wings, completely non-functional. But as she prepares to leave for her first ever voyage outside the keep, she can't help but itch at the dry patches of her skin in her elbows and shoulders. She itches with excitement and very little nerves. Okay, I had to make sure I have my tally. I had to make sure I have my journal. Okay, is that it?
And as you're scooping all of your stuff, you notice something that wasn't on your desk before. You see there is what looks like a package, an envelope, like a yellow envelope that looks like it's got something inside of it.
I open it.
You open it and it looks to be almost like a glass case, a clear glass case. And you see within it, looks like a pool of black liquid in the middle of this glass case.
Does it react to me?
So do you take it out?
Of the case?
Do you take it out of the envelope? Like you pull it out, you've got it in your hands now?
Yes.
As you put your hand on it, you see the black liquid that's in the middle. You see it almost strike up at where your hand is holding it.
Thermosense. How fascinating. She then takes out like a leather-bound book with like a flat pencil, and she starts like jotting things down. And she has like this little like recorder in one of her pockets, and she goes, "Unknown package found in the laboratory. Don't know who left it here, but thermosense detects heat." And she like puts her hand on the glass to see if it keeps reacting to her.
Yeah, it keeps reacting. Like every time you get close to it, it looks like it's trying to get to you.
Unknown substance.
Make me an investigate a mystery, please. So it's 2d6 plus sharp.
That is a 5.
Well, mark potential. I think it's called potential.
Is it experience?
I think it's experience. That's sorry. Played a lot of Mask lately. Mark experience, yes. Market experience.
Fantastic.
As you think you know what this is, but it's just the excitement of the day. It it takes away all of your focus on trying to figure out what this is. But you swear you've seen or read something like this before.
Hold on, I have a book on this. So she then puts it down gently and then tries to rummage through her little mini library. But it is mostly just notes of her data collection. And she doesn't find anything.
So soon, well, after you've begun to rummage around stuff, you see Master Lyrixi enters your lab, and turns to you and goes, "Are you ready for the meeting?"
Yeah. And then I think I kind of like inch over to like the glass to kind of like cover it. Yeah, I'm ready.
And Master Lyrixi is very familiar with the way you are, and so they don't really like even flinch at all at like you doing this crab walk over to cover up the stuff. And they go, "All right, well, just remember it's a very important meeting, and it's going to they're going to fill you in on what you're going to be doing there, and make sure you stick by Branwen. Branwen, they're going to help you, and make sure you're safe."
Accountability, I love it.
Yes. Oh gosh. And you see they come up to you and they go, "Just have fun on your first mission and just be safe, okay?"
Absolutely, I'll collect all the data.
All of the data safely.
I'll collect all the data.
You're going to one of the most dangerous places on the planet safely.
Don't think those work in the same sentence. But yes, I'm going to the most dangerous place to collect data. Yes.
All right. And she just kind of gives you a pat on the head and good luck, dear. You're going to do great.
As I scurry out, because I've been in the keep for a good 5+ years working as a lab assistant in this one confined lab. I think I know where everything is going, or where the meeting is and where the mess hall is. So you just see me like scurry on all fours just down the hall to, if the meeting's happening now, to the meeting. But if not, then I'm going to go collect Dr.Nicolai in the mess hall.
So you have some time before the meeting. The meeting's happening soon, and it's going to be in the headmaster's office. So you head to the mess hall, and you see there's Dr. Nicolai jotting notes down in the mess hall.
Great. And on all fours with my leather-bound journal in my teeth, I'm just scurrying up to him and go, and I get really excited, and then I kind of shake out of it, Dr. Nicolai, and I pull out the little vial thing. Did you give me this?
You just see them like mid sip of their coffee just, excuse me?
Did you give me this? There was a package in the lab.
I'm afraid I don't know exactly what you speak of.
And then I kind of like put my hand on it. It looks like it.
And you see it goes and like strikes up at the glass.
That's dangerous. What is that?
I thought it was from you.
Again, if it wasn't from me, I'm sorry. Who are you? My apologies. I'm faces. I'm having a brain moment right now. DM, do I know?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. You two would have started to have a I would say working relationship.
Great.
A bit while you've been here a little bit ahead of time.
Noted. Yeah. Oh, my apology. Els, I'm so sorry. I no typically don't forget names. Can I see it? I'm just gonna like slowly reach out and see if they will allow me to take the substance, the box.
Yeah.
Does it? Have I seen anything like this? Does this ring a bell? Is this...
Make me a investigate a mystery as well.
Like
Actually, Just roll me 2d6 and add sharp. So it's the same thing, but
Yeah. I'm just checking one quick thing. Okay. That is a 6.
a 6. Go ahead and mark me an experience.
Great.
And also, it's like, it's right there. It's right. Something about this seems so familiar, but you just can't figure it out.
And it seems to. The question is, because I'm going to mimic what Els did, and I notice that it kind of like reacts to my hand. Yes?
Yes.
Is it reacting because, or at least, I mean, and if the 6 doesn't allow for it, that's totally okay. Is it reacting because there's a heat source and it's being drawn to something, or does it seem like it actually has sentience?
So you touch it with your hand, it strikes the glass, and then just to test that theory, you put your coffee mug on top to test it. It doesn't strike at the coffee mug.
Good study.
I have a theory, but I'm not sure if this is the time to look into this. We are about to leave. Is this something that's important, or can we look at it later? Or I'm still trying to finish my sausage.
Yes, sorry. Did not mean to interrupt breakfast.
It's fine. I
shall continue this later. And she just kind of like takes it from you and just kind of like studies it, and then kind of starts turning away from you to make sure she's not like bothering you, and just kind of almost like kind of like goes under the table to kind of fixate on this.
Okay. I'm going to as I see this, I go, wait. Clearly, this means something for you to rush over here with this being your primary motive. Let me try one more thing. And I start to look around just to see how many people are in this mess hall, the Grand Hall right now.
It's fairly busy. I mean, there's probably about like 30 some people kind of milling about at different tables, eating, hanging out.
Okay. I reach out for the box again, the case again. And I kind of adjust my glasses for a moment. And as I do, I just start to look at it. And as I do, that fractal vibe starts to go back over my eyes. I'm going to use magic to attempt to communicate with something I do not share language with.
Okay, go ahead and roll plus weird, please. Oh no, what did you roll? What did you roll?
What happens when you roll double nat ones?
Experience.
Snake
I rolled
eyes.
2 ones.
More experience.
Roll.
Yay.
That's true. You know what? This tracks.
So this is what happens. This is what happens. So mark an experience for me first.
Yeah.
So you go to reach out to this thing. You can feel yourself extend to it. And when you touch its mind or its essence or its being, you hear a cacophony of voices, like 1,000, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands voices yelling all at once, all this different things, and it just pushes you back as you're almost shunted from its mind.
I mean, I almost with 2 ones. I think I completely fall back.
Yeah.
I think there's like a recoil. You see that those fractals almost start to overtake him as he's focused, and then suddenly he's junted back.
Were you holding on to it, or was it on the table?
I was holding on to it.
Okay, go ahead and roll. Give me 2d6 plus cool.
I have a negative chat.
We're doing so well, everyone.
We're not dead yet. So
Oh no!
There's no
headphones.
way.
They threw up their headphones.
Can I try
Was
to
it Snake
protect?
Eyes?
You can try to catch it, yeah. So
Okay.
roll me 2d6 plus. What'd you
Okay.
roll? CB? Roll me 2d6 plus cool, Jackie.
Plus cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've just
Well,
killed
that's
this
a 1.
entire facility in the first episode.
Okay. 9.
9. So it goes flying out of your hands, Dr. Nicolai, as it goes, whoom, and you see Elle's just hands go, and catch it perfectly in place with a 9.
Nicolai, you good? What'd you say?
What? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry. Is everything okay?
Yes, that's you. Are you okay?
No, I'm. Will be.
This is bad luck for now. I will put it away. I appreciate you trying to help me identify it. I seem to cause trouble.
No. You're fine. You're fine.
And she puts it away and just kind of sits there, kind of messing with her journal, just kind of almost spiraling internally, if you can see that. The meeting's happening soon. I'm going to get prepared. Please, I'm sorry for interrupting your breakfast. And she leaves.
Okay.
His eyes just kind of follow for a moment before he just puts his hands in his head in his hands, and just kind of sits there, clearly overwhelmed by whatever just happened.
Yep. Els, where are you going? You heading to the meeting now, or are you going somewhere else?
I think I am heading to the meeting.
Okay.
Or I might be heading to my panic room. I think I'm heading to my panic room.
No.
Squishmallows and blankets.
Yes.
So I still skitter on all fours, but I'm holding back tears. And I just head to my lab, and underneath one of the desks, where you would usually have open drawers, you see that they have been hollowed out, and the shelves inside have been taken out, and it's literally just this little room underneath a lab desk that is filled with squishmallows, plushies, and blankets, and she just burritos herself in there and is just trying to calm down.
Okay. All right. You've got the meeting in about 20 minutes, so why don't you... Let's see. Just roll me 2d6. Just flat. 4. It's probably going to take you right up to the meeting time to cool off, to calm down. Okay.
Quick question.
Yes.
For the toss and destroy, that wasn't another experience marking, correct or no?
For the toss, no.
Okay, I'm just making sure. So I got to straight.
Yep. Okay. So while Els calms down, the rest of you, it's just about time to go to the headmaster's office for the meeting. So you all begin to kind of file in, taking in each other as you're all entering the headmaster's office, which is a very large space with almost like these floating kind of rotating crystals that kind of just begin to bob everywhere, and it looks like they're organizing information on the vast, basically from ceiling to floor, which the ceilings are almost 25-30 feet tall, are just floor to ceiling books, as you see these crystals are kind of moving about, moving things here and there. There's a large desk up on the dais, where you see the present headmaster of the corps, which is Master Groomsh. He is a very tall orc, very, very muscular, very bald. He's bald. And he's got intricate tattoos running from the top of his head down to his shoulders. Besides, from his very fearsome appearance, he's a very calm and fun guy to be around. He could kill you with his pinky, but he would rather just tell jokes and hang out with you. So he's, depending on what part of the corps you ask, he's either very well loved or very well disliked because of his laid back attitude. He's been the current headmaster for just over about a year and a half, as he was elected not too long ago. And he is sitting at his desk there. There's a couple other people in the room. We see Reginald Blackwood, which is the representative from the Banks of Hearth, which are providing a lot of the financial parts of this expedition. He's once again a portly, middle-aged human with a balding head, a very fine trimmed mustache, in a crisp suit with shiny shoes and a cane. He seems to be sitting in a nice armchair, which wasn't in this office before. For any of you who have been in this office before, was probably brought in for him. And then you see standing at attention off to the side is a very tall, stalwart knight figure. She's in this shining, like gleaming armor, which has the symbol on it for the Wardens, which are the knights of the Nation of Six. She's got long blonde hair that's tied up in a very high, tight ponytail. She has a very prominent scar running from her top temple down to her lip. And she has a sword that is taller than most of you, except for probably one or two, on her back, as she's basically sitting there standing as you all begin to enter the room. And then you also see Ivar as well, which is the kind of gleaming, icy white scaled dragonborn who seems to just be leaning against the bookshelves. As you all enter. And
what is her name?
Her name is... It is Alden Glandan. Alden Glandan.
He doesn't have anything written down. He just made it up.
I literally right here on my nose.
Sure.
Yeah, Alden Glandan.
Oh, I spelled that wrong. Okay.
Yep.
The name.
And any of you who are historians would know that she is one of the descendants of the Six. So she is very well renowned in the world. And it's surprising to see her here. Okay.
Dust myself off and get ready because I was struggling earlier, so I won't struggle here.
And Els, I would say you probably are the last in.
I think Els is even more panicked even after being in her panic room. The door is closed and everyone is seated, and you just see her just come into the room. Open. She like shuts the door and then just kind of like back skirts against the wall until she's an empty seat and just kind of like sits down.
And you see Group stands up and he goes, "Well, we're all here, ready to talk mission details. Look at us, all these different groups working together. Nation of Six, Hearth. We got Paradise Isle here. We have Wars. This is great. And you see Ivar kind of clears his throat, and it goes, "Well, Ivar, take it away." And Ivar steps forward and goes, "Well, before we get to questions, why don't we all introduce ourselves to one another? And why don't we start with you?" And he gestures over to Kreg.
Kreg had been kind of standing behind Reginald, just kind of being the kind of servant to him. Kind of, he didn't really sit down, but he's just making sure he's not in front of anyone. But he looks around the room and nods. Hello, everyone. My name is Kreg. You may simply call me Kreg if you wish. I am here to represent Sir Blackwood and his interests.
Very good. And you. And gestures over to Mal. And Mal, when he gestures to you, you see he squints for a moment. And then goes, "And you."
Mal had been sitting down kind of haphazardly, just kind of relaxed, leaned back, very casual, and quickly takes note of the room and perks up and stands. Right. Mal from Prime's End here to assist in whatever way I can. And then he just sits back and gestures towards somebody else as if passing the baton on to whoever's adjacent to him.
And you see he gestures over to Els to introduce themselves next, but he's keeping his eyes on you, Mal.
Els at this point just stands up really rigidly, and her eyes are really wide, and she goes, "Hello, I'm Els Zinzinia, daughter of researchers Ardreth and Alois Zinzinia. It is a pleasure to be on your team." She sits back down.
Very good. And he finally removes his gaze from you, Mal, and looks to Dr. Nicolai and gestures.
He not as rigid as Els just got, but you can see he's kind of just gets to more of a centered stature. Yes, Dr. Nicolai, a representative of the Paradise Isles.
Very good. Very good. Now, you're all been brought together for certain reasons, by certain groups, for certain interests.
Not to cut you off, I'm so sorry.
Yes.
He points over
Who's
to
this?
Branwen.
And he looks over at her and he goes, "Go ahead."
I'm Branwen, warrior of the Exalted Core, and I'm your muscle.
Yes.
Okay.
She's the one who will keep you alive.
That is quite good to know. Thank you.
Interesting. Nice to meet you.
And I'm assuming, Branwen, you're probably standing where, near where he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And he goes, "Well, now let's talk mission details. The Maw has been causing trouble ever since its creation at the end of the drowning, when 2 collective ships in a fight with one of the rebel ships went down and exploded, which created the sinkhole. Ever since, ships have gone missing, people have gone missing. It's disrupted magic, it's caused all sorts of issues. And we finally were able to establish a research base. And it was going well, until the shift change never returned. The airship left to pick up those that were there and replace them with the new team, and it never came home. And the last report we got was that they found something. They had gone into the Maw, and they had found something, and they had brought it back up to study. And that was the last bit of communication we had received from the Maw. Up until that point, they had only done cursory research around the Maw. They were probably a bit too afraid to go in, but when they finally got the nerve, they ended up finding something within wreckage of one of the crashed ships down in the Maw. They didn't detail exactly what it was, but they were going to study it. And then the research post went dark. Yes, Mal.
How long after they found something did they go dark?
Well, the shift change was coming the week after, so it was about a week.
Okay. And do you happen to have any personnel files on the crew members that went missing?
Yes, we can provide that for you. Your job will be to... And he looks over at Els as he sees you kind of like, yes, Els.
What was the sample that was found?
Well, they believe it was a bit of what the collective used to infect people.
Oh, this? And she shows
You
glass.
see immediately Alden draws her massive blade and just kind of basically puts it to you, points it at you and goes, "Hand me that very slowly." Very slowly. So, Jesus.
No need to get,
As she takes
no
it.
need to get your titties in a twirl.
And she takes it and if you would know what this is, you would have yours in a twirl as well.
What exactly
And you see it's like striking at the glass. And she goes, this is, well, very sim. And you see Ivar eyes it and he goes, that is very similar to what they found. This is a bit of the collective.
The question is,
what were you doing with it?
It was in my lab. I wasn't able to identify it, and I did not collect it either. You don't let me out of the keep.
And you see they look at it, and you see she turns to Grumpsh and Ivar and Reginald. She goes, if I may. And they're like, please, get that. You see Reginald goes, get that thing out of here. Be going with it. And you see Alden leans over to you and she goes, this nearly ended the world 400 years ago.
So isn't it peculiar that someone gave it to me?
Yes.
Who has a sample in this keep?
There isn't supposed to be. It doesn't exist outside of the Maw. I don't know.
Peculiar.
And you see she puts her hands on top of it. Are you going to try to get it away from her?
I want to try and manipulate person.
Hey, all right.
Okay.
So go ahead and roll plus charm.
Believe it or not, she's not charming. That's a 10.
A 10.
11 minus 1.
So you see they're reluctant, and you see Grumpsh comes up and goes, we know how to handle it now. Just give it back. We can trust her.
Stuck here for 5 years. I may be able to find answers.
And you see Alden very reluctantly hands it back to you. And Ivar goes, well, that is what they found. And they brought back to the station to study. And then they had gone dark. So I would be quite careful with that so we don't have a repeat circumstance.
Just to verify, for data collection purposes. This is a sample, but not the one you collected. So this is a secondary one?
No, the sample never made it back here.
Maya, you see they're also like writing down some notes as CB is definitely note taking on the side. You see they keep waiting on the part. I apologize. Again, I am not from here, but I do understand having all the pieces of the puzzle, but something is missing about this specific instance, and that is it shouldn't be in the keep. What is the security detail of the keep, and how was someone able to get this specific sample into a researcher who you all say isn't at the level required to have something like this? This is clearly a breach.
You see Ivar kind of like holds your gaze a little bit and goes, we will find out how it got into the keep. And those
I want to yell insight check so badly. Wrong system. but
investigate mystery?
Yeah. Yes. We're playing pretend. We can make the rules. Investigate mystery. Go ahead.
Well, if I had listen, with all the failures I'm getting, I already know what my next move is going to be.
No, don't say that. Don't say that. You got this.
But yeah, he's not even like trying to read, but like as it's saying, it's just like you don't invite people like us into this space to do this thing and then kind of just glance over this happening. Like, this is bad. Yeah, but it's just worse than you. If this thing was a problem 400 years ago, that isn't bad. Sharp. That is a 9.
Okay.
What I'll give you is you don't like the vibe you're getting isn't that he is responsible for it, but he's more interested in it than anything. Like he like you saw a flash of almost like in his eyes, like, oh, that's something I want.
Oh, he's interested in the specimen.
Correct.
Oh.
That's what you saw in his eyes for a moment. Not so much that he was responsible. He was genuinely surprised to see it.
Okay. All right. I have no reason to talk about that, so I just go back to my notes.
And Groups goes, don't worry, we'll find out what happened. We'll figure it out. But right now, we're going to talk mission, right? And Ivar just kind of sighs as he gives him a slap on the back. And Ivar goes, yes, the mission. You all will be taking an airship funded by the Banks and Hearth, thanks to Mr. Reginald here. And you will have all of the equipment and the supplies that you need. You will have a captain to drive the ship, unless one of you decide to do it on your own. And it will serve as your temporary lodgings, laboratory, whatever you need. You are to find out what happened to the research station and find out what is in the maw that is causing the ships to disappear, the people to disappear. What is in the maw and what is behind all of the disappearances? Yes, Mal.
So is this a rescue mission or is this a supply retrieval mission?
This is an investigation.
So the personnel are secondary objectives to you?
No, they are just long dead. From as far as we know.
When he says that, Mal tenses, and you can see him gripping the edges of this chair, but he settles back in.
We were never able to find anything of the missing shift change, of their ship, of the personnel. But perhaps you may be better equipped to find them. And he turns his head over to Kreg.
I hate to correct you, but my whole reason for being here is purely to find out what happened to the bank's investment and report back. I'm not here to help in your research.
That's exactly what you're doing. The investment of the research post, you're going to find out what happened to it. Yes or no?
I'm just here to make sure our money was spent well and not wasted. So I suppose in that sense, yes.
Understood. Anyone else have any other questions?
I think that as Kreg speaks, there's a very slight narrowed eye that Nicolai gives in that direction. The lack of care other than self, not that, he doesn't know this individual, but as we're about to go into a very dangerous space, someone's only looking out for themselves is noted. And he actually notes that in his notes.
Okay. And Ivar goes, your ship is going to be ready for you. Your things will be brought on to the ship. And a captain provided. Do you require anything else?
Well, we have
my favorite pen in the lab. And I think Els is going to slowly push herself away from the table and just try to insinuate that she wants to leave the meeting, just like she's done here. Can I go?
Do you have any other questions, Els?
No.
And he just kind of throws his head like that for you to go.
On 4 feet.
He turns and gives you a look. Is it Branwen or Bronwyn?
Great question.
He turns to you, Branwen, and just kind of gives you a look like you're gonna have your hands full, and turns back to the rest of the group.
I would also like to follow her out of the room.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. And Ivar turns to the three of you and goes, "The ship will leave at sunset."
Thank you. I believe we should prepare, and I'll see you all then, I guess. Should probably contact those back home to make sure they understand what is going on.
Understood. And you all end up leaving the room. Branwen follows Els. The rest of you begin to go about getting your things. And what would you all like to do before you get on the airship?
As we're exiting the office, I actually want to catch up with Dr.Nicolai and introduce myself to him. So I'll kind of just keep up your pace. I don't know if you're going slow or fast, but I'll match whatever you're doing. I catch up to you. And I'm, Dr. Nicolai, right?
Hi. Yes. Dr. Nicolai. Nico is probably easier to say, but that is my full title, yes.
Well, Nico, I'm Mal. I noticed you in the mess hall earlier as you were having a little bit of an issue with that sample.
I apologize about that. I was I have a way with I guess the preternatural, and I was just attempting to perhaps gain a connection to it, as I was unsure of exactly what it could be. I was not expecting the feedback, quite literally, that knocked me off of my feet. I apologize about that. That is not something that normally happens. I'm pretty adept at what I do, but there's always a chance for failure.
I'm curious regarding your experience with the slime, the goo. I don't know what we're calling it other than what it is, but
I'm tempted to call it a symbiote myself, but I believe that is copywritten.
Yeah, that is an interesting verbiage that you would choose to use. But in your experience professionally, do you think something like that could take out an entire team in that size that it was?
I'll be honest, I don't know it well. I was actually going to go back to my notes to make sure I understand.
But you felt its power.
He kind of like looks around to make sure there's like, not broadcasting to the world.
Yeah,
sure.
Whatever that was, that specimen, when I tried to communicate, tried to get into whatever sort of psyche that it might have, it overloaded me to the point where I couldn't right myself. I was almost overtaken without touching it. If it could do that without a physical connection, what will it do if it actually infects? I fear that their agitation was warranted.
I speed up a little bit and get in front of you and to face you face to face. I'm like, Nico, I have to be honest with you. If push comes to shove, my personal goal is to make sure that the personnel are safe if possible. But I can't let people's thirst for knowledge get in the way of making sure that their well-being is taken care of first. Do you understand that?
As he says that to the literal scientist, doctor individual whose thirst for information is definitely forefront. I believe there's a way for two sides of this coin to be the front, if you will. There is no primary or secondary. The Maw and all that it entails will reveal a lot. And I believe on our mission, if we find any inkling that individuals are alive not only is their safety important, but they also will wield information that the nations can use. And I believe there's death, and then there's uncertainty. Death is finite. Uncertainty leaves a lot to be considered. Whatever happened to them is uncertain, and I would like to find out what it was.
All right. I think you're right, and this is the two sides of the same coin, if you will. We can coexist in that regard with our ventures and what our goals are. I just wanted to make sure that my stance was clear on what my priorities are. But if I can help in any way, shape, or form past that, then I would like to.
And I believe you have my mind as well. I will do what I can to assist everyone in their ventures, even the one who's focused on financials, as long as we all are working together. I would not like one of us to leave the other quartet behind for their own means in a space that is known to be quite volatile and has been the nexus point of chaos in our land. Selfishness can't really reign in that situation. Yes?
I've never been a big fan of banks, so...
Well, I can't say I don't like money, but it's not going to be something that I focus on.
Right. I think I kind of look over your shoulder to see if I can see Kreg.
You see he's hurriedly walking down the hall after Branwen.
I'm like, yeah, I don't think either of us have to worry about money being at the forefront of our needs and wants in this expedition. So he is free to do what he needs to do for his own business needs, and I think we'll just leave him to his own devices in that regard.
Until we need to know.
Right. Well, I will catch you in the morning. Hopefully not literally. Don't try connecting magically with anything else that you find in a cube.
I won't, and you'll actually catch us tonight. We leave tonight. Sunset.
Well, listen, airship time zones, things are weird. I grew up,
I understand.
I'm like 6 hours ahead right now. Jet lag, airship lag.
In the mountains that just doesn't make any sense to me. It's either east or west. It's not.
Time zones.
It's wild. It's weird. You're a scientist. You get it. You go north far enough, it turns into south. Strange. Yes. But anyways, I will catch you tonight.
I will see you then when the sun goes down.
Likewise, Nico.
We're gonna cut over to Els. So you going back to your lab?
Yeah, so under her breath, she is skittering. I'm guessing you guys haven't heard me say that because of my microphone. But she's skittering on all fours, and you can hear under her breath, she's mumbling, "Grandma Pickle, Grandma Pickle, Grandma Pickle, Grandma Pickle." And she's going to see her mentor, Grandma Pickle, as she has nicknamed her.
Yes. Grandma Pickle, aka Master Little Rixie Pickle.
Yes. Yes.
And so you find her in her office as she's taking notes and working on stuff. And just because I think she's installed a small door on the bottom of the normal door for you to just kind of like scuttle through, because you just kept breaking it probably over the years.
Yeah, so I just come bolting in. And,
there's like a bell on it that dings as it goes ding, ding, ding.
And I go up to like by the desk and have like my nose on top of it. I'm just like, Grandma.
Yes, Els. Yes.
We leave tonight. Leave tonight.
Okay. Yes.
Who has access to my lab?
Who did what?
Who has access to my lab?
Well, that would be you, myself. Any of the headmasters, perhaps. But that's about it. Unless they were given a key by someone. Why? Did something happen?
Do you know of anyone who gave a key?
I can check the logs.
Are they up to date as of today?
If a key to one of the laboratories was checked out, it would be written down. Okay, I will check. I will check. And you see she kind of like steps over and grabs one of the tomes and opens it and begins to flip through.
And Els, as she's doing that, just like mounts on top of the counter, just like Elle in Death Note, and just kind of like sits in like a squatted position and just kind of like looks over the book, like not trying to invade her space, but just literally like that's how she sits and just kind of waits.
And you see she gets to that page, the page of today, and like kind of goes down the line and gets to the key, which it's the key for your lab that was checked out. And you see she gets over to the name. There's no name.
But the key was checked out.
It was, but it shouldn't. You cannot take a key without scribing your name. It's part of the enchantment on the keys for the core.
Makes no sense. The key was checked out, but no name. Does the registrar know?
Did they break anything? Or
no.
What did they do?
Did you happen to give me anything in the lab?
I didn't leave anything for you, no.
At this point, where is Branwen?
I think Branwen, you would be rounding the corner as you saw Els go through the little door on the bottom of the door into the office of Master Lorixi Fickle.
I'm guessing that the door has like a window to it, and then the doggy door at the bottom. So if Branwen is there at the window, and if she's there, I want to ask her to come in. I want to wave frantically at her.
Branwen opens the door.
You open the door and you see Master Lorixi Fickle behind the desk with a big book, confused look on her face. You see Els on the desk mounted, and you are there. What do you do?
This is my accountability buddy, Branwen. She will be on the mission with me. She's the brawn, I'm brain.
Very good, Branwen. It's a pleasure to see you.
It's a pleasure to see you too. What was your name again? I'm sorry, I don't think we've ever been introduced formally.
Grandma Pickle.
What?
She holds up a hand and goes, Master Lorixi Fickle.
Master, do you prefer Lorixi or Fickle?
Lorixi is fine.
Master Lorixi.
You would know Master Lorixi as one of the heads of the sections of the core. You would know of her. You perhaps maybe never had interactions with her, but she's head of the researchers and the alchemists and the arcane users of the core.
Researchers, alchemists. Got it. Master Lorixi, it's good to finally meet you. Els, I followed you because I wanted to talk to you about the sample that you found in your lab. Security is of the utmost priority on this mission, and I need to know, as the person who is in charge of your safety, if you have any inkling as to who might have given that to you.
That's exactly why I wanted you in for the conversation. I've read in psychology books that between a group member you must establish trust. This is my first instance to you. What I asked Grandma Pickle to look at the records. My lab has only 3 keys. Me, Pickle, and an extra in case I lose it. I do that often.
Quite often.
The 3rd key was logged in, but as of today it was logged out, but no name associated with it. It means someone here gave me the sample, but we do not know who. This is no trickery of ours. So I hope that this establishes the first piece of trust between us. I do not want secrets.
I appreciate that, Els. I certainly don't want secrets either between us. I think it is very important to establish trust early on. Now, thank you for letting me know. Is it possible, Alec, to do an investigate a mystery roll?
Sure. On what in particular?
I'm wondering if I would know of anybody that might have, anyone from my sector of the keep that might have any special interest in this sector, because our paths don't cross very often.
No.
So I'm wondering if there's like literally any crossover, anyone I would know that would be able to give insight on my end of things.
Go ahead and roll investigate a mystery, please.
Wee. First roll.
First roll.
Wow.
Okay, all right. Pardon me. A 7, because I don't think I have any bonuses to sharp, do I?
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you do or not off the top of my head. So your part of the core is you don't necessarily know of anyone who would have interest in this. In the fact of, people who would be interested in the sample itself, but in giving it away, not so much.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, there's people amongst your sector of the core that would like to get their hands on this, but not give it away.
Got it.
That part is probably the strangest bit.
Els, do you plan on bringing this sample with us back to the Maw?
I do. I have a theory, if you're willing to hear me out on it.
I would love to hear your theory.
I'm wondering if this small sample will help lead us to the larger bit, the one that's causing the disappearances. Perhaps it acts as a magnetic force to the mother. But at the same time, I'm scared if I leave it here, whoever gave it to me may use it for malicious intent. I see no malicious. I do not want to use this for anything but research and good deeds. I am trying to prove myself on this trip.
I get that. I think it's a great idea for you to bring it with you. Honestly, I don't think it's safe here, and
Whoever has a key that put it in my lab, they may still have it to take it back. But can I risk that?
Well, Els, is there anyone else that you interact with on a daily basis besides Master Lyrixi? Is there anyone else that's familiar with your lab, or is that literally it?
As a player, I want to say no, but DM, do people interact with me?
Not a lot.
Okay.
Not a lot.
No, a lot of people seem to ignore me. That's why there's only 3 keys. A lot of labs have 6.
Right. Noted. Well, I'm glad you decided to bring it with you. Do you have a place to keep it safe? Because if not, she reaches out her hand. I might be the most capable person on this trip that would be able to keep it safe.
I believe the ship has pieces of my lab, protective equipment that could keep it safe during our travels. But if you are the bronze, you will be up in battle, potentially also being hit frequently. If this glass case were to be shattered, we lose the sample.
Valid. Well, let's do this then. You're a part of the keep. You're one of the only people I trust here on this team. I don't know about any of the rest of them, but I know at least you speak to the core. Hide it. Don't tell anybody else where it is, except for me.
Dr.Nicolai. He is my research buddy.
I think it's very sweet that you feel that way. And I do think that Dr. Nicolai has some very valued perspective. However, quick side question. Is Dr. Nicolai a part of the core or not? I can't remember. Not a part of the core.
He's a representative from Paradise Isle.
Right. However, Dr. Nicolai is not one of us. And that's fine. We need different perspectives on this trip. But at the very, very center of it, we need to make sure that the Exalted Core is taken care of. So only tell me. Can I trust you with that?
Hard to say. I already showed Dr. Nicolai.
We all saw it.
Fuck.
We all saw it in the meeting. I know.
Big snigger.
Els kind of ponders this, and kind of like makes a mental note. She's a very analytical person, so in her mind, she's gained 1 point of trust with Branwen, and since Dr. Nicolai and her have been working probably for like a couple days, if not a week, she's gained half a point of trust with Dr. Nicolai. So she then says,
I understand this was your first time meeting Dr. Nicolai, but he offers insight that we in the core may be blinded to. I hope that in time, the trust that you and I have now grows, but it also starts between you and Dr. Nicolai.
and I want to try and convince her. So manipulate person. I hate the word manipulate, but I would like to convince her.
Convince. You convince someone. Let's use convince someone. Yes, let's use convince someone. So roll plus charm.
What's your charm?
I should stop trying to charm people. I'm not charming.
I was going to ask what your charm modifier was.
You're endearing. You know what I mean?
I'm -1. That's a 5.
A 5. I will leave this up to you, Branwen, how you react to it, but you are not convinced, and probably what Elle said about how Dr. Nicolai has offered insights that we are blinded to in the core probably has rubbed you the wrong way.
Yeah.
Also, do I get experience? It's a fail, technically. I think 7 to 9 is medium.
Yeah.
Wait.
Just take the experience. Take the experience.
Yeah.
A game that you want to fail. That's hilarious.
But yeah, Branwen, I'll let you do it as you need. As like, take that as you will. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Els, I appreciate the fact that you want to make friends. I think that's a very admirable trait, and one that you should not lose. I want you to think about it. You don't have to make a decision right now because we're not on the ship. We leave tonight. Think on it, and let me know where you stand. But I'm firm in my belief that this needs to stay between us. We're a team. And I believe that you and I have some of the hardest jobs coming up. And I want to make sure that we do everything that we can to do this right.
Relationships are difficult.
So she tucks it away, and turns to Grandma Pickle.
While I'm away,
Yes.
please be wary of anyone here. People who've come to town, people who have been here. Someone gave me this and has access to my lab, and I'm not here. Please defend my research.
I shall. You can count on me.
And there's like a moment of tenderness as Elle's just kind of like reaches out to kind of like pet her, but then she then just says,
You are very special to me.
and then she goes off.
You see, before you can go, she pulls you in for a hug.
Yes.
Okay, now go.
Thank you.
Now go. She knows you hate them, so she lets you go. So you run out of the door, Els, and you see standing just kind of like to the side of the open door is Kreg.
Money man.
Hello.
What are you doing here?
I do not wish to interrupt. I'm waiting for Branwen.
I definitely did skitter through the doggy door, and the door is closed. Yes, so
Yes.
just
She's in there.
and I just like skitter off.
Thank you.
down the hallway.
I'm gonna exit the door and look down the hallway.
You see way down, like almost impossibly
Incredibly fast.
Yeah, just like down the hallway so fast, and you see
Optimized
this
speed, aerodynamics.
Yep. And Kreg is standing there before you.
She's so fast.
It's very odd. I don't quite know if I've ever met anyone quite like her. She's very unique.
I think you can say that about this entire group. What do you want, Kreg?
Well, first off, it's a pleasure to meet you, Branwen. I just wanted to make introductions, as you mentioned that you were the muscle of the group. Yes,
I am. Do you want me to be your own personal bodyguard?
No. I pray that won't be necessary. Just want to make sure that the banks want to make sure everything that they have invested in this is well protected. And they want me to make sure those that are the tougher sort, who do the protecting, if you understand, are up to the challenge. And I understand that that's a rather inappropriate and offensive thing to request, but I just am following orders.
Branwen walks up to Kreg and gets intimidatingly close.
How tall does she get?
She's 5'8".
Okay, cool. Just wanted to gauging the heights in my mind.
Uh-huh. I promise you it doesn't matter.
No, I know it.
She stares you dead in the eye. Kreg, have you ever seen the front lines of battle before?
I can't say I have.
I've been doing this since I was 8 years old. I promise you there is no one better on this entire island to send with you. And if you ever question my abilities again, she flicks one of her claws, puts it right up under his chin. You won't have to worry about the monsters in the maw. You have one at your back. And she walks away.
Kreg just watches you walk away, and then just takes a mental note, takes in what you said before sighing, and then walking back to find Reginald, his boss.
Yep. Reginald is enjoying a cigar. Are you just going to talk to him, or
just kind of, do what his last minute duties before he has to actually head off?
Reginald turns to you and goes, "Are you all ready for your trip?"
Yes, I have done as you've requested, and worry not. Everything will be well protected and taken care of.
Excellent. Well, best of luck, old boy. You're going to do great.
Yes, I am well aware.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're going to come back with some stories.
Yes, a safe journey back to the mainland.
Of course. Going to get out of this bloody cold.
Yes, I know how much you hate it.
Very much. And he gives you kind of like a pat on the shoulder, and he goes, "Yep, see you back at the bank." As he begins to hobble out of the room.
Kreg, I wipe off where he touched me on the shoulder.
All right. Yes.
After talking with Mal, Nico's gonna go back to his room just to make sure he has everything, his equipment, his essentials, all that stuff. I mean, he has time because it's still probably just now hitting noonish. I would probably say maybe a little later. And they're not going into sunset, so he's just making sure everything's fine. But he specifically gets in contact with someone back home.
Got it.
Specifically his superior.
Got it.
And as he does, he just probably sitting on his bed or something. Hello, just checking in. We leave at the dusk. A couple of quick questions. If you have any personal understanding or intel surrounding the lost shift change here, if you do, I'm not sure if you would, but if you do, please send that information my way just so I am prepared. I believe there is going to be a dossier, but I just want to make sure that nothing is left unturned. Secondly, it seems that we will 100% be going into the Maw at some point. So if there's anything else you specifically need, please let me know. I want to make sure that I have all of my orders, for lack of a better word. Not orders, that sounds so soldier-esque, and I'm not a soldier. Anything that you might just need, let me know.
Okay. So it takes a little bit, but a response comes back eventually. No, is this like a, just communicating, through magic, essentially reaching out?
I think there is a magical communication, for sure.
Yes.
And that he could either do it so he's like online with them, or it's like a message back and forth. I think this was a message, not necessarily anything to talk to him at this moment.
Yeah. And it comes back and you hear him go, well, we don't necessarily have anything on the missing ship. All we know is that it went down shortly after rescuing the shift change, so it could still be near the Maw. The other thing is, your other question is anything particular within the Maw? No, not necessarily anything particular, but find out what's... The collective was never this... elusive. They're a bit more abrasive, in your face, infecting your planet type of thing. This things just disappearing and people being brought in to the Maw. I want to know why. I want to know what they're being brought to. And I believe, did you have a third question?
That was mostly it.
Yeah.
What they need.
Yep.
And he would have asked at the very end, he would have said, hope that you and the others are doing well. I will be back hopefully sooner than later.
Good to hear. We will see you soon. Okay. Excellent. Anybody else doing anything in particular before we board the ship? Okay.
I'm going to try to get those personnel files.
Yes. So you would be brought a stack of files, and that by one of the attendants, and then it goes, I was told that you needed the personnel files on the shift change crew for the research station. Would you like me to put this in your quarters on the ship, or leave it with you now?
We're leaving tonight, so you can just leave them in on the ship, and I will get to them.
Okay. I'll make sure it's brought to your quarters.
Kindly.
Okay. So the rest of the day kind of goes without incident. It's a weird day for all of you. You're put together with all of these people. That there was a sample of the collective, which, by the way, just for those watching and those part of the cast, that's the equivalent of carrying around a petri dish full of the plague. Like, that's how bad this was. Like, that's the equivalent, just on the scale of things. And you're about to head off to arguably the most dangerous place on the planet. And so you all, it's just about sunset, meet in the courtyard where the Haven is, which is the name of the airship that you will all be taking. It is a massive vessel with it's a true marvel of engineering. It has a sleek aerodynamic design, huge solar sails that rise out of the main deck. The ship itself is probably a good, I would say, almost 200 feet long. Like, it is a massive, massive ship, and it is quite large. The ship's divided into several different distinct sections. The first section is the bridge, which is on the top part of the ship, which is where the captain and the crew stay and command the vessel. The bridge, after the bridge, there are 7 different cabins for the passengers, which are for all of you. They're well appointed with comfortable beds, plenty of storage space, personal belongings. These are much nicer than any of the core rooms. And then in the middle of the ship, there is a spacious laboratory. This is where basically most of any of the equipment that you requested, Els, and as well as you, Dr.Nicolai, was brought and basically set up in this kind of middle laboratory space. And then there is a mess hall near the rear of the ship that has all of the food and everything that you need. And then there is a cargo hold at the back. You were all greeted by the captain. He is a human male. His name is Captain Marius. He is kind of medium height, broad-shouldered, very thick, bushy beard, piercing blue eyes. He's got like one of those like black captain hats on, and like almost like an admiral coat that's just kind of left open. Like
I'm gonna marry him.
And he's got a cigarette hanging out of his lips that he flicks to the side when he sees you all approach.
I'm kidding. It's okay.
And he gestures to you all and goes, "Welcome aboard." As you all...
Never mind. I'm lying.
As he gestures for you all to come on board and find clip number 6. Yep, and find your places on the ship. You don't have to, but I'm just going to ask, is anyone sharing a room or everybody getting their own rooms? There's plenty to choose from. I don't know.
Own room.
I'm kind of curious if Branwen was forced to share a room with Els. I don't know.
God.
Like, I don't think that was like planned for us, but I don't know.
Let me ask you this. Sorry, go ahead, Alec.
No, go ahead.
Let me ask you this as Jackie. Do you feel like for comedic relief it would be funny for the plot if we shared a room?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay, we'll share a room.
Yeah.
For the
That
plot.
silence was
I think
loud.
it'd be really funny. No, I think it'd be really funny if we like get on the ship and everyone has like separate rooms, and then we get to ours, and one side of the room has all the squishmallows and the blankets, and then there's your very tucked army style room, and you're like, what is this?
Oh God, we're the odd couple.
So it's Wednesday. So it's Wednesday in Enid. Got it.
Got
Oh
it.
my God.
Perfect.
Do I know if they installed my panic room, or is my room my panic room? I think I have a separate.
They did install your panic room, and you would know that it is essentially like, you would know where the button is, which I will message to you because it is your panic room.
Fantastic. Because if it hadn't been installed, I would be doing the same thing I did in my laboratory and taking one of the island desks and taking out the
turning
shelves.
it into...
Yes.
Yes, I will message you where your panic room is. Okay. So you all board the ship, you get into your rooms, you settle in for the journey. It's a rather short, yes.
Just really quickly, not to cut you off. I just wanted noted that as we're getting on the ship, you will see that Nicolai even hesitates to get on the ship for a moment. But as he gets on, you can tell that while he is trying to take in everything and listening to this gorgeous dulcet tones of Marius, past that, he's looking at every corner and every dark recess.
Mm-hmm.
He just can't not look at it.
Right. As you settle into the ship as well as you can, the journey from the keep to the maw is almost like just about half a day's journey. So you should get there by sunrise, which was kind of the plan. You're going to leave at sunset, get there at sunrise. So it's going to begin to get warmer opposed to get colder while you start your research and start your day. And as you are all settling into the ship, settling into your rooms, you can't help but feel a sense of unease. You've heard the rumors. You've heard the stories about the Maw, a massive sinkhole that begins to swallow everything that comes near it. You know, ships, people, research station. The Maw looms still way off, a couple 100 miles in the distance. But you can feel something drawing you there. Like it's almost like something outside of you is you're almost pulled there, as if it's calling to you. You're not sure exactly where this is going to go, but you're sure that it's not going to be as easy as everybody seems to make it seem, like checking on assets, doing a bit of research, finding lost people. Something just feels wrong about this. And as the camera begins to pull away from the airship, it pans around it and back through a window. And we see Elle's bag. And we see just inside the little glass container. And we see the little black pool. We see it begins to kind of expand just a little bit inside the little glass case. So it just begins to grow ever so slightly. And that's where we're going to stop for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 1 of Mysteries of the Maw. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm really excited to get these folks down to the Maw and show them what is all the spooky stuff down there. I've been Alec the Bard. I am your game master. Thank you so much to Tumidlynx as Kreg. Thank you so much to Sydney of the Hightower. Is that correct? Am I saying it correct? Of Hightower? You're muted.
I was doing so good this entire time. You can call me Sydney Rubino or Sydney of Hightower. I'll go by both.
Sydney Rubino as Branwen. We're going to decide on a pronunciation by episode 2. We're going to by episode 2. Thank you so much to CriticalBard as Dr.Nicolai. Thank you so much to Latinos Against Spooky Shit as Mal. And thank you so much to Jackie Elena Chen as Els. We will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.